Now, back in October, Big Finish announced they'll be doing a new series of audio adventures with the Tenth Doctor and Donna, and obviously this caused a massive buzz in the Doctor Who fandom, because the Tenth Doctor and Donna are one of the most lovable and iconic Doctor Who companion duos of all time, and it was the first time we're seeing them together again in 8 years, since Series 4. And it's quite nostalgic as well for me, because Series 4 was the series when I started watching the show, in 2008. So I thought I'd treat myself to the limited edition box set of these 3 new adventures. And having now listened to them, I thought I'd do a quick review and tell you why, if you haven't bought the 10th Doctor adventures yet, you're really missing out. Now, the first of the new 3 adventures is Technophobia, and wow, what a way to start. I mean, first of all, David Tennant and Catherine Tate just pick up the roles immediately. It just feels so much like Series 4 again. It's like they've never even been away. They just slot back in perfectly. So that was really nice to listen to and really nostalgic. And it does feel a lot like a kind of Russell T Davies story, like Partners in Crime, or just something based on Earth where things are going wrong. Like the Atmos in Sontaran Stratagem, or the Ghosts in Army of Ghosts. So in many ways it does feel a lot like a series opener from the RTD era, which is good because obviously this is the first adventure of the set. This is the first time we're hearing Ten and Donna together on audio. The concept at the heart of this story is very clever. I mean, basically it's set in London and people are forgetting how to use technology. And the way it's set up kind of leads you to believe that it's technology at fault, but actually it's the aliens that are changing the way that the human brain works, which I think is quite clever, to make them afraid of technology and to make them forget how to use it. So I thought that was a clever twist. It was leading you one way and then it kind of takes you in another direction, which Big Finish does quite well, and it does quite a lot as well, I think. The characters are quite relatable and likeable as well. I mean, in each one of these adventures, there's not a massive cast. There aren't too many guest characters. And, I don't know, I feel in this story perhaps it would have benefited a little bit more from having more characters to kind of give that feel of this massive urban, modern-day setting, because it's very much set in London, and we very much focus on the few characters we've got. I mean, on the other hand, it does allow the few characters we've got to be well developed, and they certainly are very well developed. We get some nice moments between Donna and Bex, particularly, but I just feel that even if there's some more characters in the background, it would have made use of the modern-day Earth setting and kind of made it a bit more authentic. But overall, Technophobia is a great story, and a really good way to start the set of adventures. The second story, Time Reaver, does something very different. It's set on Calibris, which is this very alien, interesting world full of interesting characters. It couldn't be more different from the setting of the first story, which is good. It shows the variety, and it's a bit like how RTD used to do it in a series with the first 2 episodes, with one set in the present, then one in the future, then one in the past. That's kind of the format that Big Finish has adapted here. So yeah, Calibris is a great world. There are some very interesting characters, interesting motives and morals, and moral arguments as well. Because basically it's centered on the Time Reaver itself, which is this device that kind of makes time feel like it's slowing down to whoever's shot with it, which can be a blessing if you want to prolong a happy experience or memory, and that's what the Time Reaver is actually invented for, because basically there's this race of aliens who are dying out, and they want to prolong their last moments together, So that's why the Time Reaver is invented. But on the other hand, there's this very different idea that it can be used as a weapon to make, a few seconds of agony feel like hours or months. So there are these very two kind of different opinions about the Time Reaver, and they're explored very well, and it's a very interesting argument. I think possibly the best thing about this story is Gully, who is this kind of octopus villain with horrible slithery voice. He's just great. He's a really great villain, and the voice work is just amazing as well. He has this really interesting texture, and it's just, I don't know how to explain it or describe it. It's just a really, really interesting voice. And Gully's a bit of a criminal. He's a bit of a kind of drug smuggler, if you like. And he basically wants to get his tentacles on the Time Reaver to use it for these bad purposes. But yeah, he's a very unlikable, nasty kind of character, and not something that you'd want to bump into. So yeah, I think he's a great villain for this story. It is kind of slightly more confusing because, well, I mean, there's a lot going on. There are a lot of kind of subplots, and it's a bit difficult to understand. That would be my only criticism of the story, I think. It's just, I suppose because it's on an alien world with lots of new characters to be introduced to, no humans or anything like that. Yeah, it does feel a bit confusing at times. On the other hand, one thing that I did like about this story, which Technophobia didn't really do much of, is that it put Donna in peril. She basically has this bomb on her back halfway through the story, which the Doctor has to get off her. And, you know, I liked seeing that because it allows us to kind of explore the Doctor and Donna's relationship and how loyal they are to each other. And I think because Donna's such a loud character naturally, it's nice to have these moments where, you know, she's about to die, or these touching conversations, because it reveals more about the characters. So I did enjoy seeing Donna in peril, although I love her really. So Time Reaver was a bit confusing, but it's definitely worth it, and there is a lot going on, yes. It is a bit hard to follow. I think I'm going to have to listen to it a second time just to get a grasp of exactly what's going on, but it's worth listening alone for the lovely texture of Gully's voice. The third and final story of this set, Death and the Queen, is definitely the best, you know, without a doubt, because it's just been crafted just for the 10th Doctor and Donna. You know, it's basically a character piece for Donna, and to some extent for the Doctor as well, because it just explores their relationship so well. Basically, Donna falls in love with this prince named Rudolph, and she's kind of destined to become the queen of this alien world. You know, she's ready for the wedding, but of course there's a horrible twist. You know, it's a bit of a twisted fairy tale, if you like. And the Doctor kind of senses that something's up from the start. You know, he thinks it's a bit too good to be true, which of course Donna dismisses. But that does allow us to have some interesting scenes and an interesting dynamic between the two. You know, because obviously this is Donna's happy day after so many failed wedding attempts, if you like. She finally thinks that she's met the man of her dreams, but of course it all goes wrong, like every single one of Donna Noble's weddings. And having this situation as well allows us to explore the Doctor's character, because obviously he thinks that he's going to lose Donna. He thinks she's going to become the queen of this world and never see him again. So that's why it's kind of a character piece for the Doctor as well, because you explore what's going through his head when he's about to lose a companion. But obviously all this kind of emotional rubbish goes nowhere, because the wedding goes wrong, and there's basically this big kind of death entity that Rudolph has agreed to give Donna to in exchange for 500 years of peace. It's an interesting kind of peace treaty, and again, it just kind of provokes some moral arguments in your head. You know, is it worth sacrificing Donna for 500 years of peace, or is it better to risk 500 years worth of war and lose more people? You know, it reminded me a bit of the "Should I Kill Young Davros" thing from Series 9, and luckily the resolution here is consistent, because it's made very clear that it's best to go out and explore the universe and risk war than being enclosed in your own planet and sacrificing one person to try and make things better. There are some really great characters in this one as well. There's the very horrid, unlikable Queen Mum who kind of has control over Rudolph. You know, she kind of makes all his decisions for him, if you like, and he's a bit of a mummy's boy as well. And on the other hand, there's Hortense, who is Donna's maid, and she's quite likeable, and she kind of takes Donna's place as the temporary companion, because obviously the Doctor thinks he's going to lose Donna, so it's interesting to see him find another suitable companion-type figure so quickly. So Death and the Queen is definitely the best out of the three, I think. Just because it's written so specifically for the 10th Doctor and Donna. You know, it couldn't have been a different companion, it had to be Donna, you know, but because the whole kind of gag about her failed wedding attempts, so purely because it's tailored so much to the 10th Doctor and Donna, it's my favourite of the three. So overall, the first volume of the 10th Doctor Adventures from Big Finish is a very strong set of stories indeed. It's definitely worth paying £30 for the book version of the set, even though I've not got the physical book yet, because I've downloaded the stories to listen to. You also get these 2 behind-the-scenes features, but because you get 5 things, you know, the 3 stories and the 2 behind-the-scenes features, it works out at £6 a thing. So it's better value overall, I think, and I'm sure the book will be lovely as well. It would definitely be nice to see more of these box sets in the future, you know, I'd very much welcome that. The only thing I would say is that if there are too many stories with Donna particularly set very late in her run, I think it would kind of compromise her demise in a way, because obviously her demise worked so well because she had these 13 episodes and she had the time of her life with the Doctor, and then she just had to forget all of it, and I think making that too long would kind of draw it out a bit too much. It wouldn't quite feel like it had the same effect. And another thing I would say as well, that there's only so much you can develop these characters. You know, they've already been established as beginning and ending on screen, so there's only so much that anyone's ever going to be able to do with the 10th Doctor and Donna, so that's something else to be wary of. But overall, it would definitely be nice to see a second volume, a third volume, and possibly even more. But maybe in the future experimenting with a different companion to give a bit of variety would be interesting as well, even though Donna is easily the best RTD era companion. So thanks for watching this review. I've got another kind of 3 or 4 weeks left of exams now, so like I say, I'm not sure what I'm going to be able to get out, probably not much to be honest, but I will get videos out when I can. So thanks for watching, I guess, and bye for now.